What's up, guys? We're gonna go over the indexes weekly watch list for next week. Okay. So, when we're looking at this, there's a few things that we can take note of in terms of essentially the overall markets, right? So, I created this score sheet, um, taking the bull and bear score. So, if you look at the bull and bear score here, I take these 7 time frames and take the net score of those 7 time frames and then throw them into the sheet. And so we can see the rankings of the top stuff here in the sectors and then also key names and then the indexes. And so I'm gonna be doing this every week. Once I get this sheet finalized, I will have it posted for you guys to use, those who have the table indicator. So then you can do this analysis on your own each week. So first things first, if we're looking at the indexes, we can see here we've got a score of 58. So best score is out of 70 because the net score, there's 7 time frames. Best thing is out of 10. So that's the net score. Um, so when we're looking at this, we can see QQQ has a 58 out of 70, SPY 13, DIA -2, IWM 4, RSP, which is the equal weighted S&P 500, -9. Best score we can get is a 350 for the indexes, and we have a 64. Worst score can be a -350. Okay. Um, then looking at the key names here, we can see Apple is a outperformer, Google outperformer, ABGO, um, and then Tesla and TSM. So if we're looking at this, we can see the tech names are performing a lot better. You can see um, we're in the 50th percentile for, so this is a ranking out of 100% or a negative 100%. So right now, the indexes are mostly neutral. And by looking at this, we can tell we have to focus on tech this week. That's where all the strength is. There's no strength in anything else. And then we can see the key names, the ones that are holding up the best. So next thing is like out of the key names here, top one being Tesla with a score of 60, ABGO with a 58. And then we've got Apple and then Google. Those are the top names within our list here. And then these other ones start to get more neutral, but Tesla, ABGO, TSM are the clear outperformers, and we want to pay attention to those because those are going to be the best ones setting up. And that also lines up with what we're seeing here. We can see also NVIDIA is actually the worst and the weakest out of all of them. So um, we want to stay away from NVIDIA, but focus on ABGO, TSM, and potentially trading those next week. And then we go into further analysis, right, of the sectors. And we can see technology as a 42 XLY, which is Tesla, 46, and Tesla and Amazon. And then other than that, everything else is pretty neutral. So it becomes pretty easy to see which ones we want to focus on. We want to focus on XLK stocks, so that would be Apple. Um, and then we want to focus on XLY, which would be Tesla. So Tesla, obviously, and then looking at the third best ranking, it would be SMH. So the semiconductors. So we really want to put emphasis on TSM, AVGO, and Tesla into this week. Those are the stronger names and the leaders going into this week. Okay. So that's what we can take away immediately right off the bat. So when we're looking at adding things to our watch list, we want to have AVGO on there. We want to have Tesla and TSM for sure. Okay. So that's the first thing. Then when we continue through here, we can take a look at, so without even really having to look at too much, we know that QQQ is the clear outperformer. It's got um, a score of 59, right? So this is actually performing really well and looks really great. It's outperforming the market. You can see the relative strength score is increasing. So as long as this stays bullish, we're going to want to rock with it and continue to trade this name or uh, this stock whatever, the index to the upside. Okay. And that's the outperforming one that we want to pay attention to. When we go back to the rankings, we can see RSP is the weakest, and then it's the Dow. So DIA is the weakest. You can see here we've got a little bit of this trend line action going on. So potentially we'll see if we break this trend line. RSP, we can see here kind of similar action going on actually. So you can see this trend line, we've already broke that trend line, so that's a pretty bearish sign for sure. Better drawn right there. So there's the bearish trend line that we're looking at. So, or we have broke to the downside, so that's not a good sign. That means the overall market is not as strong. And by this sheet, it's also showing us that the overall just tech is outperforming by a massive amount, and that's where we got to put our focus. Okay, so if we go look at Tesla, so Tesla, because it is the outperformer, right? You can see we had a nice A plus, and we've been off to the races ever since. We actually had we traded this one, and then we had early buys on Friday. I did miss this one, but we want to continue to look for, okay, what are the setups we're seeing in this name, and can we see if there's another setup that we can trade to the upside? Okay. AVGO obviously had earnings, so like the next 15 minutes, 30-minute setup, we can look to play to the upside and trade it to the upside. Then from there, Bitcoin seems like it is setting up. So we want to keep our eye on Bitcoin because this looks like it is starting to set a nice pattern, and we're getting an A plus setup. We are under resistance, the major 1.618. So if we can get above that, I think we're headed to about 10,000 here. So 110,000. Okay. Another name that we're starting to get a breakout on above this like $81 range. I think we could look to play this one to the upside is Upstart. Now we've got a 52 out of 100 or out of 70, which is a really strong score. Couple things we want to keep in mind, right? So if we look at this is just one that I'm keeping on my watch list. We've got an A plus setup. Let's see if we can get a 15-minute, 30-minute setup and play this one to the upside. We played this one last week and it paid really well. So I want to see if we can get more continuation on this name as looks like we're gonna continue to break out after that earnings, and then also getting a break of this range that we've been trading in for a long time. So that's a really solid base breakout setup. If we look at go back to the Bitcoin idea, I think MSTR is setting up for a nice move. So we got a nice inside day on Friday. You can see here we've got 15-minute, 30-minute, and 4-hour buys. We got a score of 38. And then if we look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see buy signals in the entry zone. We're holding support. You can see we're starting to put in higher lows here, and we had a nice bullish close. It did get added to the S&P or the Nasdaq over the weekend, and I told people in the chat that we were getting in this, and just not an official call out, but that I was picking up shares of MSTX, which is the leveraged ETF of this. And so you can see here also the relative strength line is starting to turn up, and we've got all of these pieces of the puzzle starting to come together. And so we've got a 30-minute buy, we've got a 15-minute buy, and then we've got a 4-hour buy. So I'm looking for a breakout of this. And if we can get a breakout here, I'm looking for a burst 440, 445. Okay. And then if we can, let's see if we can get up here back into the old highs. So this is one of the top best looking setups that I'm seeing in the market going in the next few days or next week. So PLTR, we did miss an entry on this one. This one actually had a really, really great setup. Unfortunately, I just saw it too late. So if we look back, we can see here if you watch this table, we printed, we got a score of 43. We had 15-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute buy signals, all printing. So, um, and then I believe we had a 2 hour as well. And then we finally started to make its move. And so I missed this entry, which is unfortunate, but this is one of my top watches. If we can get a pullback on this one for an entry long. Okay. So keep an eye on this daily chart, then um, look at, can't find it. Oh, Reddit. So Reddit, really strong looking stock or setup here. So you can see we had 30-minute buys into the close on Friday. You can see here, buy signals that played out nicely, buy signals that played out nicely. Um, and so I am looking for a continuation on this one. It has 1 hour buy signals and I believe 2 hour as well. Yep, 2 hour buy signals. So you can see the last 2 hour buy signals turned out to be a really great trade on this one. So really nice setup on this one. Strong relative strength name you can see here. Over the past 50 days, it's outperformed 99% of the stocks. We had that nice earnings gap up, and we've just continued on this trend higher. So I do like this one. Relative strength line is increasing, and everything looks great. COHR. This one has had a really strong performance in the past year, past couple of years, going from like $28 all the way to 110 now. So I do want to keep an eye on this name. I don't like the fact that the relative strength line is decreasing. That's a cautionary tale, but I do like, I have to like the setup because of the strength. We'll keep an eye on this and see if this will give us a lower time frame signal to play to the upside. ARM. So this one, you can see relative strength line starting to turn up. Weekly buy signal, right? Relative strength line turning up. I'm looking for, can we get a lower time frame, 15-minute, 30-minute to get the entry because this daily squeeze should fire off soon. We can see that this 618 is clear resistance, so we want to pay attention to that. And then two more that I'm going to give you. So Dix, this one has a really, really high score. It's almost up there with Tesla. So it has a 58, and this chart looks amazing across the board. So if we you can see we have 30-minute, 240 daily, weekly buy signals, and this thing looks ready to rocket. So it looks like it's going to break out. It's broke out of this resistance already. So if we can get a little bit of a pullback, I think we're going to take out this high, and this weekly squeeze can certainly fire to the upside, and we can get a nice upside move on this one. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And then last one I'm going to give you is Hood. I like this one because we had this move up, we came down, sweep liquidity right here, popped up, and you can see the relative strength line is now increasing again. And we've got a score of 40, which is fine. But if we're looking at this here, you can see we got a 4 hour in the entry zone. Looks great. I'm looking for the next 30-minute. I think we had 15-minute into the close. Yep. But would still be, you can see here that this right here, this $40 level and 618 have been clear resistance. So on Monday, if we can hold above this, I'd love to take this long. You can see the relative strength line moving it back above zero. And we've got this 4 hour A plus relative strength starting to turn up. Great looking setup here. So we'll look to purchase that one next week and try to play the upside move back into a new high and potentially $45. So that's my watch list into this week. Hope this helps. And then if you want to take a screenshot of these rankings real quick, you can do so. And I'll help you know where to focus in the markets. Clearly, we're going to need to stay focused on the index or the tech stocks. So hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you for the markets this week.